Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Versus Court. Well, not really the Versus Court. That's a big difference I got used to. It's the Fan Battle Cast, but Versus Court is just welcome to Versus Court. I gotta remember that. And welcome to Versus Court, the show where we talk about matchups pitched to the Death Battle team. And quite recently, we were told about a matchup that is very, very interesting, which is Arceus from Pokemon versus Nicol Bolas from Magic the Gathering. The first order of business I'd like to get to is how do we pronounce these two characters? Because there's a lot of different interpretations.
Arceus. That's how you say it.
Arceus.
Arceus.
Nicol Bolas.
Because I've heard Arceus and Arceus a lot, and
I think it's one of those things where it's not generally agreed upon, but I personally have heard Arceus more often than not.
Well, the Arceus thing actually comes from Japan, I believe, where they can't quite pronounce a C sound right. And you can actually see that with how they do the Silvali's ability RKS system. They call it the Arce system instead.
Ah, fascinating.
Right? RKS obviously being Arceus and Arce being Arce in the Arceus, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is fair. But in any case, it's up to interpretation.
Nicol Bolas is not. It is Nicol Bolas.
Arceus.
Arceus Nicol Bolas.
I would like to just say for the record, it's not that Japanese speakers are unable to pronounce the C sound.
I shouldn't say
it's
unable.
just that it's not a sound that's in their vernacular almost ever,
Yes.
I think. So
Before I go on the record, I actually sound like I said that they can't. I should just say it's one of the tones that's a little harder.
Yeah, like with R and L, I believe, because the sounds of the letters are very similar in the language.
yeah, it's like a language thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now that we've gotten that, and is it Nicol? Someone said Nicol Bolas, so I'd also like to double check that. It's
Nicol Bolas.
Nicol Bolas versus
Nicol Bolas.
I'm just going to call him Nicole. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I'm calling him Arceus. It can be
Okay.
Arceus if you want, or Arceus.
All right.
But
So those
I'll
guys
be
are
referring
fighting
to it as
today.
Arceus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be very interested to compare the Pokemon mechanics versus Magic mechanics.
So will I.
I, as per usual, am your host, Santi Sherm. With me today, representing Nicol Bolas, we have Allheart. Say hi.
What's up? My name's Kai. I've been playing Magic the Gathering for about 15 years now. So I know it pretty well.
And representing Arceus, we have Lockdown.
Hello. As far as with me in Pokemon, I started in X and Y because I was born in 2005, and I've been watching this one dude deep dive into Pokemon for over 2 years now.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring on a good friend of mine, Magic, because I do a lot of Pokemon stuff and Magic the Gathering stuff with him, so I wanted to get him in on this one because it seemed like it would be a really fun time. So,
Happy to be. Wow, that's boring. See, if you're a gambler or you know somebody who's gambling, consider calling the gambling hotline at 1-800-426-2537.
Oh.
is that a real phone number?
I looked it up, yeah.
Wait, is that like an actual, like, if you have an addiction with gambling, you can call that number?
Yeah.
Alright, good to know. I'll put that in the lower third at some point, so that this is not sponsored, but just a good thing.
You learn something new every day on the Versus Court, they say.
Alright, so I think we can jump right in. I'm gonna ask Kai to go first because I feel like Arceus, in at least our circles, is generally the more well-known of the two. So
Yeah.
I'll throw up your 60 seconds up.
All right.
You have your uninterrupted 60 seconds. What do you want to say about wait. I meant to say Lockdown to go first because Arceus is the more well-known person. Sorry about that. I got a little twisted up.
Oh, it's okay. And plus I'm first in the title
yeah.
anyways. It's
All right.
tradition.
Lockdown, you have uninterrupted 60 seconds to explain why Arceus wins.
Arceus, the creator of the Pokemon world, the God Horse, the maker of the Creation Trio, the Lake Spirits, and basically everything known to man. He has several plates imbued with mystical powers and has so many different abilities at his disposal that I think no matter how many magics they gather, Nicol Bolas will not take this Pokemon down.
Not even half time. That's one of the fastest ones we've had.
I'm sorry, no matter how many magics they gather.
I don't know. I was trying to go for something funny.
Sorry, that threw me off a little bit.
That was really funny. I liked
He's
it.
thinking Lockdown's thinking a Pokemon where you gotta catch him. I was always like, oh, you have to gather all the magic. This makes sense to me.
That's clearly how it works. My bad.
If you don't have a joke
Okay.
like that in your segment, I'm gonna be extremely disappointed.
Okay, actually, you know what? I think there is like a mana system, so I guess they do objectively gather magic, right?
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be quiet.
Alright, you have your uninterrupted 60 seconds.
Okay. Nicol Bolas, the twin of Ugin, the spirit dragon. He is a planeswalker, born a weakling. He was born a small, weak dragon that had to use corruption and cunning to get to where he was. And yet now he is one of the most powerful beings in all of Magic the Gathering. He has ended and started thousands of wars with planeswalkers across the realms. He's killed his brother. He has come back to life. He has gained the Elder Spell. He has done any and everything you can think of, and is at a point where he is warring with the worlds of Magic simply for the fun of it, because he is bored. This is a dragon who literally let himself be taken over by a techno-organic race simply because he wanted to see if it would work. He is insane, he is powerful, and there is nothing
It seems very impressive. So something that's interesting to me is people usually pair Arceus with like other creator deities, because Arceus is kind of like that archetype where he's like more or less the capital G god of Pokemon, predates everything, created the world. Relatively a simple concept to get. He's Pokemon god.
Right.
Nicol Bolas is not Magic the Gathering creator god. He's like, I've heard this dynamic be described as it's kind of like a creation versus destruction kind of idea or something. So I guess like what is Nicol Bolas's whole deal? I'd like to ask about.
So Nicol Bolas is a planeswalker, which in Magic the Gathering means you're able to like walk between planes of existence. However, he was born a twin to Ugin the Spirit Dragon, where he didn't really have power. He was one of the weakest of his brethren. And he kind of realized real quick that he needed to be cunning and straight up evil if you wanted to get ahead. To the point where one of the first things that we know about Nicol Bolas is that he let one of his siblings be beaten to death by a group of magic users simply because it would get her out of his way. But over time, through many different means, he gained all this amazing power, and started warring with his brother specifically. And so there's something, I guess, in Magic, there are two phases. There's the pre-mending and the post-mending. So the pre-mending was where all of the old planeswalkers are from. That's Nicol Bolas, Ugin, and then a lot of like the really powerful ones that people might talk about, like Emrakul. But then there was the mending that took away their power, made them way weaker. And so Nicol Bolas, that happened while Nicol Bolas was imprisoned by Ugin. But with the Elder Spell, which is a whole separate thing I'll get into later, he was able to regain his power, and he started just destroying universes.
Why?
Because he can.
He's just an asshole.
Pretty much, he wants to rule, but he also gets bored very easily with what's happening. Like he has what's the word? Like he has people that he uses as like his. I'm trying to think of the right word. Almost like puppets, but he treats them like students. That he will have, like, just go out and like start setting his rule within these different planes of magic, and then he'll just get bored and make them explode or incinerate, and then just blow up the universe anyway if he feels like it, or just pick someone new, and then like go through the whole thing again for no reason.
So if we wanted to get real thematic with explaining this, it would kind of be like Arceus is the creator of civilization, while Nicol Bolas is like the
End
ruiner
of
of civilizations.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So this is basically Nicol Bolas pulls up to the Pokemon world to see if shit is sweet. This is basically the premise of the fight.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, to answer the question in the chat, that and more, you'll find out.
Gotta give Archie.
He's an Archie.
I'm assuming he meant Arceus, but you know.
I didn't know
like
Archie
that.
was
We
in
should just
this.
start calling Arceus Archie.
Archie versus Nicole.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think as we have agreed, we're going to start with equipment because that is one of the shorter categories for these guys, surprisingly.
Yeah, I didn't even know this was gonna be a category, but here we are. So what equipment are these two packing?
Well, namely for Arceus, he has the plates. Sherm, can you bring up all the plates?
I will bring up all the plates.
This is going to feed into a couple of arguments as well, but for the most part, I'm just going to list the list that is here. The blank plate associated with the normal type, fist plate associated with the fighting type, yada, yada, yada. You can read the names. There's a plate for every type along with the legend plate. Each of the plates provide both a stab boost for that type of move, as well as an immunity from those types of attacks, as well as the legend plate, which specifically turns its typing to always be super effective against the opponent.
Always be super effective?
It will always be super effective.
Interesting. Okay.
Now you may down now because a couple of those are going to be for later. A couple of the descriptions. Couldn't find it with any of them looking unique.
All right.
I forgot some of the names of the plates. I don't know why, but
they got-
Splash Plate is so funny considering Splash does no damage.
You are correct, but also like the Zap plate.
Also
Also-
Blade Plate.
I do love the Iron plate. You can just picture it in your mind, just like it's just a metal plate.
Just like a slab.
Yeah,
Nothing
you can
special.
take that down though, because this is spoiling some stat stuff.
Ooh.
Spoilers. The legend plate is basically just the game's way of transferring how Arceus's plates work in the movies. Possibly.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he can also switch between the plates at will, and that'll play into something that he has later. Like he can
'Cause,
switch into them on the fly.
In-game mechanics, you can only give Pokemon one of these plates, but Arceus
Yeah.
clearly seems to be capable of using all of them at the same time.
Yep, that is very clearly shown.
In a
in
way
the
similar
anime.
to how I'm sure we'll talk about how Nicol Bolas doesn't actually need to like ramp up like other like how the Magic the Gathering mechanics would imply.
He's gonna get mana screwed. He's not gonna draw any mana.
Oh no.
That would be funny as like a visual gag for the fight if it was
You're just-
like an
damn it.
animation.
Damn
He's
it,
like,
where-
damn it.
I could very easily imagine just like I have so many planes. Where are my swamps?
It's okay. This is just gonna miss every single stone edge, anyways. You know.
Oh, yep.
He's just missing Stone Edge while Nicol Bolas is trying to draw the mana he needs to play his spells.
Where's my mountain? I can't do anything without my mountain.
Oh my god.
His Focus Blast is gonna hit eventually. I gotta hurry up. Alright, so what?
Anyways, what equipment does Mr. Nicol Bolas have?
Alright. First, can you bring up the artifacts of Nicol Bolas? I'm sorry, I think it's artifacts of Bolas.
Oh no.
You said you want what's it called?
Artifacts of Bolas.
It's a very dramatic
Don't
sounding
that
name.
him. It's Nicole now.
The Artifacts of Nicol.
Artifacts of Nicol. So right here we've got, these are specifically artifacts that Nicol Bolas has acquired over the year. The Gem of Becoming, the Immortal Sun, Bolas' Citadel, and the Planar Bridge. So the Gem of Becoming was originally the stone that Nicol Bolas has between his horns, but however now it's the Spirit Gem. They are a bit different. But with the Gem of Becoming, he is able to peer into other realities without actually having to enter them, as well as peering into others' minds. The Immortal Sun basically makes it so that way other higher level beings, it can shut down their abilities. Like it's of other planeswalkers. And
Your microphone's
the
kind of
Bolas'
dying.
Citadel. What?
Your microphone's kind of dying a little bit.
Wonder. Weird.
Oh, you sound fine now, so it should be fine. But it's
Okay.
just like it kind of sounded like you were getting distorted, but I think you okay now.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't think I noticed. Maybe it was just on your end.
Well, it's very important because my end is also the audience's end, so
Yeah,
I can't hear it.
that's right.
Well, I guess there's that. Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah. So Bolas' Citadel, which lets which is what he uses like as like a place for sacrificing and as a containment to contain higher levels of power. And the Planar Bridge, which allows which was originally made to allow non-planeswalkers to travel across planes. However, he uses it as a way to trap beings in the in-between of planes. And then he also has, can you bring up Spells of Bolas?
Just trying to get, so what, he'll like toss someone in a planar bridge, and then as they're traveling, he'll like just turn it off or something?
He'll follow him through and then just leave him there.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like doing the whole like Pokemon urban legend of destroying the Pokeball as they're going in. I thought that's what was happening here for seconds. All right,
no,
Spells of Nicol Bolas, you said?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, there is, I'll go into it a little bit more later, but there is an in-between space of the planes.
Okay.
So these ones are a bit different. In Bolas' Clutches is a spell that I'll go into in a little bit. But the God Pharaoh's Gift and the God Pharaoh's Statue are both ways to consistently keep all of his spells and life in the game, like constantly renewing. Even though he has so. I'm trying to think about this. So he can basically play whatever. These are just ways in case something is like played upon him that might start to limit his magic. These are able to help him stay in the game by making magic easier to cast, as well as making sure that things that he's already cast can keep just coming back.
Can keep coming back?
Yes.
Okay.
As in, like, he can redraw from stuff that he's already tapped into.
Okay. So I guess do we want to
Uh,
just, since we're already talking about spells and how they interact, do we think that like would a Pokemon move just equal a spell?
I would say so, especially given the fact that within Magic the Gathering, um, counter spells and all that, they work for even like within the actual lore, not just the card games. Within it, they work on on anything really, including things such as the move Fling, which is literally just picking someone up and throwing them at you.
And you can counter that spell.
And
Very
counter
different-
spells work.
Different from the Pokemon move Fling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would say they're on the same level.
Okay. Just wanted to get that straight since that'll be a big part of this, I assume.
Yeah.
I think the interaction of Arceus sees the move Fling pop up on the UI and it's like, oh, this is gonna be what?
Oh. All right. So
Okay.
we got equipment out of the way.
Okay, so I believe abilities is next.
Yes.
Sherm, could you bring up Shield?
Shield.
I spelt it wrong on purpose, I swear.
Only the highest quality images on the versus court.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is a shield created by Arceus, which was used to take Ash and Pikachu out to safety. He can generate these both like very small and around himself, which is fueled internally by his rage. Can you have has Judgment Day finally come? This is Judgment. I caught it midway to make it look cool. Basically, Arceus shoots a bunch of lasers up into the sky, and then, or at the opponent, whatever you want to do. Going up into the sky and then coming down upon them is a lot cooler. But it changes type with the plate that it holds and is like normally a normal type move, but it's pretty damn powerful. From what I can gather, I did not look too closely at the move itself. Let me just double check it.
It kind of looks like he's doing the Smash Bros. Ultimate Gleam light blast of just going after
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a scan describing it, or at least I thought I did, because I thought it was interesting. But in any case, it's a pretty damn strong move, and it's Arceus' signature move.
Okay.
Can you bring up Breathe Darn You 1?
Breathe. I know. There it is. Sorry, it took me a second.
This is Dialga, who is down for the count. Can you bring up Breathe Darn You 2? And this is him all better.
Are we
can
to
bring
assume
people
that
back.
Arceus did this?
Arceus, in fact, did this. That is the light from Arceus.
Okay.
Can I have Floating?
Floating. Sorry, I'm trying a slightly different method of images. There we go.
Fair enough. He can do telekinesis and send people into the air.
And this isn't like a psychic move with psychic aura. He's just like making them
This is
float.
just something he's doing, funnily enough. You could interpret it to be he's using a psychic move, but that's as far as like the thing goes. And then okay. I think this is when we're gonna start getting into some move shenanigans. Can I have Foul Play? Or excuse me, sorry. All your attack are belong to me. This is Foul Play. It is a dark type move. The attack uses the opponent's own attack power to determine how much damage it does.
Interesting.
And then,
Okay.
can I have all your boosts start? Yeah, you get it.
All your boosts.
This is punishment. It deals damage based on how many times your stats have been increased.
Hmm. Now that is a thing
Just
in
to
Magic.
double
We
up.
do like to increase our
This
numbers.
is true.
And could I have always effective, just so I can reconfirm something from earlier? This is the explaining the legend plate and how it actually works. It allows changing the type of the move judgment into something that is always super effective.
Okay.
Now,
So, for example, something like a fire type, if they're facing that, it would change to a water type move.
do we know what happens if it targets a Pokemon that doesn't have a weakness, like the Electros? That's an electric type that can fly, so it's immune to ground type. Do we know what would happen?
Yeah, I have not seen experiments done with that, but based on the way that the text is explained here, the intention is that it turns it into a type that is super effective.
Hmm. Okay.
So it's possible that there's some weird in betweens, but that's not the lore intention.
Right.
The lore intention is just that it works on everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure that I do just abilities and not like stat stuff.
Yeah.
Can I get ICU?
Like the hospital thing?
That's where my
It
mind
is
went
spelled
to.
that way.
I see you. Aha. Sorry, I was looking for.
Here is ICU. Today, as always, Arceus continues to watch over people and Pokemon alike. Arceus is the one who watches over everything in Pokemon, naturally. Additionally, can I have the
So
knower?
I do have a question about this. Does this mean like if Nico Bolas tries to use his like special equipment to like look into the universe, are we gonna have like a what if Ultron
Arceus would
moment
be
of like
aware
I see you?
of seeing him. Yeah, he would be able to see that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I can expand upon that with something else as well. But can I have the knower?
The nowhere.
Cartoon Arceus is the weakest version there is. That's because it's an avatar and it also doesn't have all its place. And it still beat the shit out of the creation
Okay, it's
trio.
the nowhere. I was looking under K, but it starts with T.
My provide a hint for how to solve the problem. Yeah, so this is basically from I forget which one of the movies it is, but Cynthia is explaining Arceus because she seems to be very knowledgeable on him, likely due to ancestral connections. But basically, be able to tell if and when someone needs help, but he doesn't want to just do it for people, so he gives them a hint towards how to do it.
So it
Because
just
if he
knows
does
everything.
everything for them, to a degree, and this plays into where is it? Is it? Man, I wish I'd named these more intelligently. Is it? Can I have no immunity?
No immunity.
This is omniscience and omnipotence. The user has the abilities Instinct, Mountaineer, and Life Force, and can inflict damage upon Pokemon of all types, regardless of immunity.
That's
But also,
that's
this
helpful.
is just like kind of, yeah. It also plays into the fact that if I could have, okay, hold on. I'm trying not to dig into the bigger stuff. Can I have damn one? This is someone who has deep telepathic powers trying to reach out to Arceus. And if we have Dam 2,
Am 2.
this telepathic communication transcends space and time.
What does that mean?
They are able to resist like mental things on a, that sort of a scale.
Wait, am I
Could I
supposed to read
admit-
this like a manga or like a comic?
This is a manga. This is the Pokemon manga.
So, what is she referring to when she says now transcend the confines of time and space?
It's her telepathic powers because she's trying to soothe Giratina in this moment.
Okay. Interesting.
But Arceus, with the other person who draws from that same sort of thing, he was able to straight up just block it. Could I have FU knockoff?
FU knockoff.
This plays into... Okay, so this is Arceus's ability, multi-type. Basically, it allows him to change type with each of the plates, and additionally, you cannot copy or remove the plates, as the plates not only are, being kept in place by a multi-type, but are also inherently a part of Arceus's own being.
Interesting.
Yeah, additionally, with the origin of the plates, because I might as well put it into that. Prior to creating everything, Arceus had defeated at least 18 giants and infused their power into the plates.
Right, I remember this. This was weird.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy. But yeah, so that's how the plates ended up coming to be, and they're just a part of Arceus's being.
So they're like truly primordial power sources.
Absolutely. Okay, let me get something funny. Can I have D? Can I have Control plus X?
Control plus X.
It would be funny if I just made this cut, but no, it's defog. It not only lowers evasion by 1 stage, even through substitute, but also covers everything in a deep fog, which puts down, it removes any deep fog. I apologize, brain is scrambled. Removes mist, light screen, reflect, safeguard, magic coat, aurora veil, spikes, toxic spice, stealth rocks, G-max, steel surges, entry hazard, sticky web, and all terrain types on the target side of the field.
Interesting. What counts as a terrain is a good question in this context.
That is a very excellent question, and I suppose we'll figure that out later. Can I have mind, heart, and will?
Mind, heart, and will.
I'm heart.
You are heart.
You're all heart.
So this is explaining the Lake Trio, who were directly a result of Arceus. Like, it's explained in the beginning of things, along with the Creation Trio, the Lake Trio were also created. This meaning that they're an extension of Arceus itself, and thus he would have their same capabilities, disregarding the fact that he created Pokemon as a thing. But he's able to affect memories, manipulate emotions, and manipulate the wills of individuals to turn them into puppets.
Interesting.
You're just making sure that I'm coming up on the end of things that I can actually bring up without going to cosmology stuff. Can I have taunt? Or, excuse me, shenanigans?
Time shenanigans?
Status shenanigans.
Status shenanigans. Okay.
Do they also have something called time shenanigans? That would have been funny. This is taunt, and this is the part where I was going to go into a bunch of other status moves. So taunt makes it to where the opponent can only use attacking moves, so that they can't, use protect or set up or anything along those lines. Whether that's helpful or not in this situation, I'm unsure. Additionally, there are plenty of other status moves. Things from increasing Arceus's own evasion, accuracy, making it to where his next move will hit with lock on, being able to poison, burn, paralyze, confuse, just any manner of things on Nicol Bolas with plenty of moves. Confuse Ray, Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, just any variety of things. He could do a lot of things. Not to mention flinching, which just makes it to where you don't have your turn. Whether that applies in a fight or not, I'm not sure. But I just think the idea of him getting flinch locked is funny.
So we've talked about a lot of very interesting stuff, and a lot of these are referencing very specific interactions we could have. I do want to know, for Arceus so far, I've kind of just been listing off everything. I would be very curious if we want to just kind of hit these like point by point and talk about specific interactions. So maybe instead of just listing off Nicol Bolas's whole itinerary, we can kind of talk about like, would this work on Nicol Bolas for X, Y, and Z reasons, or would we
I'm cool
rather
with
just
that.
talk about Nicol Bolas like in general?
I
'Cause,
actually
like-
kind of like the point by point idea.
Okay, so like the first thing I was thinking about was the fact that Arceus is never able to be like immune to anything. In Magic, we know there's a lot of stuff like indestructible or just other conditions that I can't remember off the top of my head. Would Arceus just kind of ignore these things, or would there be ways to make Nicol Bolas immune to attacks?
I would argue that indestructible, he wouldn't be able. That wouldn't be something that would work against, because it's not an immunity. It is simple because like when you are in Magic, when you're indestructible, you still technically take the damage. It just doesn't actually move your counter. But because we do know that you can technically still die as indestructible through other means like -1/-1 counters, which are like depowering. If it goes to 0, you still die. So damage is a bit weird there. I do think that indestructible would be able to bypass that. However, I do think that in this scenario, if Nicol Bolas was able to give himself like an immunity to red, like which is a thing in game, or like an immunity to, I guess, blue or whatever color Pokemon moves would be, I feel like that he could potentially bypass that with his ability.
Okay. Now the ability for Arceus to bring things back to life would be very funny if Arceus was like a Magic the Gathering character and could just freely just take things back from the graveyard whenever they wanted.
Yeah.
Arceus doesn't really work like that, so I don't think that's super relevant, but that is funny to think about.
They are technically a solo fighter.
Yeah.
Also, to answer some questions from the chat, because I've seen some things, I've generally heard Arceus referred to as a guy. Games, anime, and cartoons, they are all just avatars. The closest we've seen of the true form is the little sequence at the beginning of Legends Arceus, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, technically he would upscale everything since he created them. And yes, he would be able to manipulate the same things the Creation Trio did, because he's the reason that they were created in the first place.
Okay.
And also just inherently transcends them. But that's a whole other point. And he also has beaten all 3 of them in a fight.
Okay.
With an avatar.
At the same time, right?
At the same time.
Yeah. So the other thing that was brought up was the funny defog argument, which I'm actually going to bring up because so we can get into like the specifics of this, which was what was it called? Just Control X.
Yeah, Control X. It would have been funny if I just made it cut and I just
I believe the argument you are alluding to is that lands, which are the thing in Magic you use to be able to cast spells, Are you arguing that Arceus using defog would just get rid of any lands Nicol Bolas would be using?
See, I didn't look too far into Magic the Gathering, but depend upon how lands work in that game, that would be really funny if that was a way for him to just shut that down.
Oh.
And
I thought
it
that's
has
what you were
32
referencing. I
uses,
didn't mean
right? Or was
to
it
make an
16?
argument out of nowhere.
I appreciate you. How do the lands work, if you may?
So, lands in Magic the Gathering are extremely literal. They are drawing mana and magic from the lands.
Okay.
That being okay, so something that's a little different that I think people forget about, or they just don't know, is when you're playing Magic, it's meant to be like two people who are wizards dueling each other. You're casting spells at each other, so creatures to attack each other. That's what's happening when you play a game of Magic. A Planeswalker is a bit different from that. And so they don't require mana in the same way. I gotta wait for Sherm to get back to bring something up.
I'm listening.
Of course.
I gotta bring up an image.
While we're waiting there, could we theoretically say that if Arceus uses taunt, that you don't get to play lands?
No. So
and then
okay.
you can just
so
taunt and defog. It's like, okay, Nicole can't
No.
do anything
So
while Arceus.
the
is
way
trying to
that
get-
he's describing lands, and since this doesn't apply to planeswalkers, it would be that is their power source. To my understanding, with the way that Pokemon works, there's not a way for someone to cut off one's power source besides something like knockoff. Which even then, how are you gonna knock off the fucking planet from someone?
Right.
To be fair, this is God we're talking about. If anyone could knock
Like
away
he
a
could,
planet.
but like also he's saying planeswalkers work differently. So let's hear how that happens.
So could you do me a favor and can you bring up? Let me make sure this is the right one.
He ran away.
Wait, no, this is not the right one. What the heck?
Ah, gosh darn it.
Lockdown, did you take away all heart scans?
I did not take away all heart scans. That
What
is
did you
not
do,
my doing.
Lockdown?
I
It's
didn't
done.
do anything.
All right,
Arceus might have something to do
Lockdown
with it, but it was
forfeits
not
now.
me.
They lose all of their information.
It's gone.
What?
Well, I guess you'll just have to
How?
describe it.
Okay, so upon becoming a planeswalker, you are when you become one and your spark ignites, you have infinite energy. It was described in the books. She was also a planeswalker with unlimited access to the multiverse and its endless supply of magical energy. She could erase these three with less effort than it took her to clear her throat. So they are being a planeswalker grants you an inherent access to unlimited mana.
Okay.
So lands are a non-factor here.
Yeah, because of their spark.
Right.
Okay, yeah. That inherently that would be something like quote unquote innate with the Pokemon.
Correct.
Technically, the best if you wanted to be generous, you could equate it to like an ability, which besides like moves that bypass abilities, I don't have a way to shut it down, I believe. But I'm not gonna do that because that's a whole lot of hypothetical.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm able to get around any mana screwing things with the infinite energy.
Also, person in chat, stop spoiling my final arguments.
So, just so for someone like me who plays Magic mechanically and doesn't know too much about the lore, in Magic where you have to kind of slowly stockpile lands to cast bigger and bigger spells, are we saying that Planeswalkers, lore-wise, don't have to do this and can kind of just cast their big stuff whenever they want?
Correct.
It'd be
Okay.
the same thing with like PP in Pokemon. I don't have that limit. Or Arceus does not.
Okay. So similarly, Arceus will not be running out of PP moves. He can use the moves as many times as he
He
wants.
will not begin to struggle besides like physically, assuming that this goes on hard and long enough.
The only move Arceus is incapable of is struggle. Okay, interesting. Okay. So Defog wouldn't just be able to negate Nico's ability to cast magic. It would just maybe get rid of any setup stuff that happens.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, and also lowers his accuracy, so he has to gamba.
That's another question, because we've brought this up a couple of times. Accuracy is not really a thing in Magic. So
It's
how
really
would
not.
that work?
You suddenly become 90% accurate.
Are we just going to assume that everything has a flat, like, 100% accuracy until modified by Pokemon accuracy manipulation?
Well,
Well,
yeah,
due to the fact that
better
they're-
things do cost more.
Would you say?
I said the better things do cost more, so might as well just say they're all 100% accurate.
I guess.
Yeah, like if we wanted to be extremely just, we could say accuracy stuff doesn't affect them, but realistically, we just say it's an 100% accurate thing, and then it gets dropped because otherwise we're giving a massive buff to MTG where it doesn't technically have it.
Yeah. Which is, I'm fine with saying that, yeah, this can, you know, maybe not even like in like a Pokemon like game sense where it's like, oh, my accuracy's dropped. Like physically, it's like, oh, he's throwing up like this fog shit. Is making it harder to see him.
Nothing that I bring up later.
So I would like to ask just a quick, like, this is a technical difficulties question completely outside of the matchup. On my end, which is what the community is hearing, all three of you guys have had moments of, like, kind of glitching out for a split second. Are any of you guys hearing that, or are
Oh.
all you guys, like, talking to each other perfectly fine?
We're all
fine.
talking to each other perfectly fine.
All right, so there's something wrong on my end. I don't think it's ruining the audio or anything, but it's definitely something I'm gonna have to look into to see why that's happening. Might be an internet problem. All right, but please continue. At this point, I guess I just want to also ask, because we kind of skipped past this. Are we just assuming that Arceus has like every Pokemon move?
Yes, in lore he would most likely have it due to the fact that he made the types.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how he'd be attacking for the most part, unless you want to bring up more specific arguments later.
Yeah, I do have
Well, do we want
I
to?
do have two less little things. I'll just explain them verbally so we're not bringing up scans and waiting forever. Additionally, there's a move called Payback, which does damage based on how much damage is received, as well as Quash, which forces you to be last in the priority bracket, no matter how fast you are, or the priority of the move.
That's always seemed like the most useless move in Pokemon, because you have to use a move to do that to someone.
It's pretty damn good in VGC doubles.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, though, unfortunately, Squash does not have priority.
I don't believe so, but that'll become like that'll become a matter of things to come. It's just a funny
option.
option.
To be faster. He would still need to be. It's so dumb. It should be priority.
Which we'll figure that out later.
So yeah, so in order for Quash to be useful, you have to be faster than your opponent already, making
Which
the
is
effect
something
of
that we're
making your
gonna talk
opponent
about.
slower basically useless.
We're gonna figure that out.
It's typically used in VGC by Pokemon like Murkrow, who have Prankster, which gives status moves priority.
Okay.
Sableye and Murkrow, my beloved.
Yep.
Yes. I do like the idea of like Arceus just using it and then just like doing some crazy thing, and Nicol like tries to do something about it, but then he's like, "Why am I not moving as fast?"
I do have just like some quick questions. I apologize for not letting Allhar get to his ability sections by just some various questions. You don't have to go in details, but just kind of like as a quick like yay or nay, is summoning other monsters part of like Nicol Bolas is one of his abilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So my question is like, Arceus is the god of Pokemon. Could he just summon whatever Pokemon he wanted theoretically?
he does have portal creation and such, and did make the trio. However, when it comes to summoning other Pokemon by his side, I haven't seen that specifically. He tends to go into things like just him himself as an avatar.
Well, I don't think like it's actually would be helpful to him because theoretically Arceus could just like
Yeah,
make more of
hypothetically, he could just
himself, but
Avengers Endgame portals.
just for like the
And
coolness factor of like a bunch of Pokemon fighting a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards.
yeah, hypothetically, Arceus should be able to summon the creation trio,
Yeah.
the lake spirits, and pretty much like everyone else if he wanted to. Whether they be loyal or not, he would actually be able to do that because he could manipulate their wills.
And so I feel like Giratina, Dark, Palkia, Dialga have like a little bit of like they're to a degree like employees or something. Like I feel like if Arceus asks them to do something, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they're typically like respectful to him to a degree. At the very least, like by the end of things, they seem to be on decent terms.
And I know Kyogre and Groudon can summon like any ground or water Pokemon they want, so it would make sense for me for Arceus to be able to do that to all Pokemon. But that's just something I wondered about because I just like the
Yeah.
idea of the Pokemon fighting the Magic.
Yeah, hypothetically, they could be able to summon every Pokemon to their side. I do love the idea of just like tiny little monsters, and there's just like, Rattata.
Right. So, Allheart, you've been very, very patient. What is
Nice.
Nicol Bolas bringing to the table in terms of abilities and magic?
So, Nicol Bolas has got a lot, especially since regaining his power. Can you bring up the first image, which is Cheese Touch?
Cheese Touch.
Cheese touch.
So Nicol Bolas is able to, with a touch, corrupt and poison. Not literally poison, but like poison. It's sort of like an eldritch toxin, toxic beings just with a single touch of his finger. We've seen this absolutely decimate planeswalkers and gods throughout the Magic universe. Literally, he touches them and their soul begins to eradicate. So that's a pretty big thing.
Do we know like what maybe like in the Pokemon world what kind of move would this be? Would this be like a ghost type thing maybe?
I would feel like the closest thing this should be is like a ghostly thing. And strangely enough, Arceus just remaining himself might make it to where he's technically immune to it. This affects spirits.
It does.
Okay. In that case, like the fact that it is a toxin, it's possible going poison plate could make him immune to it. And also he's resisted corruption and also created antimatter. So it's very possible. I feel like it's reasonable to say he resists this sort of stuff due to the fact that he has like stuff like Giratina, who he's fought, who are able to like ensnare people in like a weird black goo sort of thing, and he comes from like a very distorted world.
Isn't one of the Lake Trio like has domain over spirits or something?
They do. You are right. Yeah, that would be a big thing for this, but it's a matter of resist. Yeah, okay. This is a very interesting and specific thing that I didn't think about. Reasonably, I say Arceus should resist it, and even if he doesn't, his avatar can just die and have another one show up.
Yeah, I guess we can get into that later as like one of the big advantages of Arceus. But this does seem like a very dangerous ability.
It is very dangerous. I feel like reasonably Arceus should at least resist it and be able to keep fighting.
Can you bring up the Planeswalker?
Oh boy.
The Planeswalker. The only one.
Yep. So Nicol Bolas has had a few different iterations in card form, obviously. Unfortunately, he's never actually very good in within the game itself.
Tragic.
Arceus can relate. He's never been very good.
I've heard Arceus' stream speed was like pretty good.
It was good for a generation, and then he got and then he just completely got forgotten about.
That's
So-
I
right.
guess it's valid.
Within lore, they're a lot. Within the game, they get forgotten so easy.
Yeah.
But with these, he's got a decent amount of abilities of recalling old spells, damaging his opponents and such. But the big one I want to focus on is the innate ability of Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God, has the loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers. He should reasonably have the abilities of any other planeswalker, given that not only are planeswalkers able to replicate pretty much any ability they see, as long as they have the will for it, which he is the most powerful of the old walkers. But he has this innate ability to copy. So with that, can you please bring up here Planeswalker Abilities 1? It's labeled 1. There's only one of them. I didn't end up making a second one.
Oh,
So here we've got just a few of the Planeswalker cards that he would be able to commune with. With with the emblems of Ajani, he would be able to innately create what cats with lifelink, which is funny as hell to me. Which lifelink is the ability to regain life upon contact. As well as things like if he's dealt damage, he can prevent all but one of that damage.
1 billion lion tokens versus Arceus.
one Arceus.
Oh, brother.
Through Chandra Nalar, he's got whenever he casts a spell, it does no matter what it actually does, he can cause fire damage to Arceus. Whenever he casts an instant or sorcery spells, he can copy it and just use it again. Through Duretti, which is a name, he's able to once again, this is always an important thing, pull from spells he's already drained. With Dormy Raid, any creatures he summons get increased, like way more powerful. Dovin Hand of Control, things are easier to cast. Elspeth, he's able to give all of his things indestructible or create even more tokens. And the big one, Garruk Apex Predator, destroy another planeswalker. So the reason that's important is these abilities are very literal when it comes to destroy. Destroy is not just a game mechanic. It quite literally means to destroy within the lore. Nicol Bolas would be able to simply destroy using his abilities any other planeswalker. This is important because it's on Garruk. Garruk is a man of the wild. He is someone who is simply someone who originally wanted to just live in the woods, be left alone, hunt and all that, and then was tempted by the Veil. The Veil in Magic is an article of clothing. It's a crown that gives immense power but corrupts. When Garruk was tempted by the Veil, he put it on and immediately just became a planeswalker hunter. Just traveled the different realms, destroying planeswalkers. And it was very literal in his ability to simply destroy them.
How does he just like hit him with an axe, or is there like some special like planeswalker erasure spell or something?
Basically that. It's just a special planeswalker stuck you button.
Interesting.
Does
Good
it?
thing Arceus isn't one of them.
That is true. He is not a planeswalker. Is a planeswalker a specific thing, or only a creature that can go to different dimensions?
Planeswalkers are specifically those that are able to traverse different planes of existence.
What I'm asking is is it like a specific method? Would Rick Sanchez with his portal gun be considered a planeswalker because he can do that?
No, because it's done with outside equipment.
Okay,
He does not have the innate ability.
Okay,
So
this
anyone who
wouldn't be...
crosses dimensions with their own power is a planeswalker?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh. Well, that's bad.
So,
But Destiny Bond.
True.
I am the table is asking a very important question.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is,
So
is
let me address this. Would Arceus Fairy just be immune to all of Nicol Bolas's attacks since he's a dragon? Is Arceus immune to every move from Dragon Knight? No, because different moves have different types.
Okay.
yeah.
So it'd have to come down to what type of move Nicol Bolas uses. Because saying that, oh, he's a dragon, he can't do anything, disregards the fact that there's different types of moves. However, it would be kind of funny that he just slashes at him and it's just the move had no effect.
I mean, if that cheese touch ability is an ability inherent to Nicol Bolas's draconic ability, then
He could potentially resist it. That depends on how cheese touch poison soul thing works.
It is a product of the Elder Spell, not his draconic heritage.
Okay.
What is the Elder Spell?
I want to get into that a little bit later because it is very important to scaling.
Valid.
Do we want to talk
Can
about
you-
Destiny Bond, or is that just a joke we threw out?
It was not a joke. It was going to be something I saved for the end, but finding out that there's I kill you button. Destiny Bond is a move that Arceus has where if he were to die, it links his destiny with the attacker, meaning that if he dies, then so does the person who attacked him.
Okay.
Hold on.
There's also Perish Song, which was brought up in the chat a lot, which makes it to where both faint after 3 turns, no matter what. Unless if you switch out, which I don't know if there's an equivalent for that for Magic, and since Nicole could summon things and switch out or whatever, it's very weird because I feel like it's reasonable to say that they would just fight each other, or at the very least it would come down to them.
There are certain cards
that's a whole thing.
There are certain things in Magic that work like that. I think you can you can exile yourself, which is how you avoid destroy everything cards, and then you come back. So I guess maybe...
Oh, you mean phase out, right?
Yeah, would phasing out maybe
Yeah.
count as switching out?
Maybe. I almost see it more as I guess for a planeswalker it's a bit different. Because I know there are cards you can return to your hand. For a planeswalker, I think it would be almost, I guess, if he were to planeswalk mid-fight, that might count.
Yeah, I'd say that counts as switching out, or I guess running away from the battle. Which
It does stop if you run away. And you can't get better running away than no longer being in the dimension.
I do love the idea of just...
But you can't run away if it's a trainer battle.
Away. Well,
that's what you think.
That's what you think.
Nicol Bolas don't play by your rules.
Yeah, but then Arceus just chases after him. But yeah, that's
okay.
That. Where do we want to move on from?
Well, All Hearts still had more to talk about. That was just an aside.
I do apologize.
No, you're good.
Gladly finish.
So What have I talked about?
We got on this
Planeswalker
tangent because you were talking about the Planeswalker abilities and
tokens,
Garruk's ability
kill
to just
Planeswalker
insta-kill
button.
things.
Right. Okay. So
What if
those
you-
are abilities that he's able to get. What's up?
Sorry, Sturdy just came to mind, but that probably wouldn't help. I don't think Arceus has.
That actually,
Oh, boy.
actually, that might help. But technically, there is Endure, which allows you to live from a one-hit KO move.
Does
Mmm.
Nicole know any one-hit KO moves?
That would be that instant Planeswalker killing button.
Oh, you're right.
That would work on
I'm
Garruk's
silly.
ability. Okay.
We literally just talked about that.
I do think it would be funny. Just he spams it in Arceus.
In the animation, the
Yeah.
dust clears and we see like the 1 health, and we see like Arceus is sturdy or something. That'd be fun.
No, he doesn't have sturdy. He has multi-type.
I just
It would
assumed
be
he had all those.
Arceus's Endure allowed him to survive this.
That'd go kind of hard.
Okay,
That would.
actually, do you know what would be even funnier? Arceus toughed it out so you wouldn't feel sad.
Oh my god.
Hilarious.
All right. So the next thing I guess for me would be make sure I have. Or can you bring up shapeshift?
Shapeshift.
So this is Meshuvel talking to Urza, basically explaining that upon traveling to different planes, you have to kind of look a certain way, otherwise you're going to get found.
The Kingdom Hearts logic.
Right. So planeswalkers are able to completely change their shape at will. This is actually part of another thing, which I'll get into a little. We've kind of talked a little bit about the fact that Arceus is an avatar, so I'll go into this a little bit right now, and I think we'll go more in depth with both of these later. Can you bring up projection?
Yes. Projection.
So he clutched to her. She was all that kept him aloft. He had to heal. He had to rebuild his being. He could not. Part of his being, the only part that was not a mere projection of his mind, had been ripped away. Planeswalkers are not on our plane. What you see is an avatar. They are on a higher plane of existence, which we will get to a bit more later. But with that, can you also bring up reconstruct? This is, as we see, Radha was spiked through the brain. His physical body was just completely domed. A wound that was very temporary, but he's like, the initial shock of it was like, oh, that sucked. I guess I'll just reform my head. Because they can reconstruct their body at will. And this is very literal, even up to the complete disintegration and destruction of their entire body. As long as they have will, they can come back.
This is how all
even
planeswalkers
if-
work?
Yes.
Huh.
Planeswalkers need to be killed in a very specific way to be permanently dead. This is why a lot of characters, such as Jace Bellerin, who was killed by Garrick, was able to come back because of how strong his will is. And there is, where did it go? I have so many scans. This one? Okay. Can you bring up existence?
Oh no.
This one has a lot of words on it.
This one's got a lot of words.
Oh boy.
So within, this is specifically Nicol Bolas talking. within the planes that we see, he is able to basically bend existence. Because planeswalkers don't follow the traditional rules of existence. This is after he had died. He had died and been imprisoned in Dominaria before being set free because Jace had a moment of being stupid. And upon his freeing, despite not even having the Elder Spell to give him back his Old Walker abilities, he immediately kind of broke free from existence and was able to escape into the Blind Eternities. The Blind Eternities is the in-between of planes. It is basically this incorporeal place that breaks down your mind, body, and soul if you do not specifically have the spark of a planeswalker. And as we talked about earlier, not only does he have the planar bridge to bring people to the Blind Eternities, he could not only do that himself, but he can bend the Blind Eternities. He is able to completely shape and control this in between of dimensions. Let's see, and then can you bring up Mind Read? This is Urza going through Zantscha. I don't know how to pronounce. I hate pronouncing anything with an X. Going through his mind, rummaging and taking out memories, to figure out the plan that was being hidden from Urza. This is something that we see done a lot throughout Magic, and it's specifically is done quite a bit to beings that are able to resist the mental manipulations, as well as being done across planes, meaning across time, space, and dimensions. They're able to rifle through and yank memories from minds. Also, make sure it's not that one. There we go. Can you bring up Creation? So this is a planeswalker who was kind of newer to the idea of having planeswalker abilities. I specifically want to focus on that second paragraph. She was an artificer, a designer, and a builder of machines. She was not an architect and had no actual plan for or notion toward building her perfect workshop. What she did have was the raw idea of it, and that was all it took for a truly infinite immortal to make it real. Planeswalkers have the ability to, with their infinite magic and their minds, simply create whatever they want. So this is how they draw and cast whatever spells they want, but they're also able to create any physical object they want. The final thing for abilities I want to bring up right now, it's twofold. Can you first bring up Mind Break?
Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. One second.
We already looked at that one. So this is Nicol Bolas when he returned to power. He took the 3 gods of the realms and stowed them away as you would tools in a cupboard. With his remaining power, he corrupted and manipulated the ley lines of mana that coursed through the remaining gods, willing them to forget their origins, tying their existence to himself and forcing them to erase all else. Beings that are, again, planeswalkers. They are these higher dimensional beings that are able to, with their will and mind, control the fabric of reality, he is able to break their minds into tying their existence to him and then erasing the rest about themselves.
What does it mean when it says he stowed them away? Like, what did he do with the gods?
He literally tucked them away in a room.
And they were just stuck there?
Yeah, he mind broke them, so they had no sense of self. They had no sense of self. They had no sense of anything other than serving what Nicol Bolas wants.
The fact that this is happening specifically to 3 gods, I'm now imagining this happening to like the creation trio or something as like a cool moment, like halfway through the fight or something.
And then my final thing I want to bring up for abilities right now. Can you bring up counter?
This is what everyone was waiting for.
That's right.
Look at that. Oh.
Counter spells.
Here it is.
I counter spells.
Sokka.
Okay, what do we got here? Sokka.
El Quincha.
I threw in a couple. This is only a very small handful of counter spells within Magic the Gathering. But there are so many, to the point where if you play blue, most people want to stab you.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I say this as someone who has been running a blue mill deck since I was like 10.
The Dash
You should be
Hopes
ashamed of
label is
yourself.
quite accurate.
The which one? Oh,
Dash
Dash Hopes, yeah. But there are so many different counter spells throughout the game, and it's kind of ridiculous. They've done so many, and they keep giving them different abilities, such as counter spell, gain 3 life, counter the spell, draw a card. There was a which one was it? Was it one of these? Yeah, counter target spell, and then was it? Yeah, cards in my hand get cheaper. Like, there is a million ways. There's mana drain, which will counter a spell and give me the power that you used to cast that spell. There is so many counter spells. It is ridiculous, and it's gonna turn anything Arceus tries to do into one big nuh-uh.
I do have a very important question, because these are instant speed, which means, Magic, it's a card game, you take turns. Instants happen whenever you want. How does an instant speed spell interact with something like
Higher
like
priority.
Protect,
It would be a priority.
or quick attack, or something that's like a higher priority move?
Yeah, so
So-
that would be treated as a priority move. The level of priority would have to be down to 8, but stuff like Protect could allow that, but countering Protect just doesn't do anything
Well,
because they're already protecting themselves.
that's kind of fair.
Well, technically, you can get around Protect with other moves like Feint, which if you use Feint, it'll go before the Protect and stop Protect.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a very specific move that is meant to specifically go against that. But something like Counterspell, does Counterspell just disable the move?
Yes, it just stops it from happening.
Yeah, so it'd just be the same as like you hit a ghost type move with a fighting type move. Except like a little different, obviously, because it would functionally be Protect for the Magic the Gathering characters.
Yeah. Well, there are other things like that, like such as Teferi's Protection, which is able to it's like phases everything out of reality. That's kind of their Protect.
I see. Yeah, I'm just
But-
picturing it like you throw something at them, it just does nothing.
Basically, it's more like you never threw it. It
Okay.
stops you from using it in the first place.
Fascinating.
And with if you want to go like game stuff, it would definitely be like a priority thing of like these would have top priority. Um,
Yeah, like
within
protect.
within the lore of Magic, instants are basically spells that you're able to cast without a thought. It's just an instant reaction.
Hmm.
So that would kind of tie back to speed, which we'll get to, I'm sure.
So yeah, you would have to like do something to make it that Nicol Bolas couldn't cast spells on his turn outside of his
Yeah.
turn to make it so they
Which
can't
there
do
are-
counter spells.
There are a couple moves and other such things that would prevent him from doing stuff like getting confused.
That's interesting.
I think that's good for ability. Oh wait, sorry. There is one last thing I want to bring up. I thought I brought this up already. I did not. Can you, for the final thing for right now, can you bring up Doomblade?
Also, while we're at this, giving him every ability, I don't know how to feel about that because I don't feel there's like you could make the argument that he could use the ability of any Pokemon, but I think him sticking with his ability makes the most sense.
Yeah. So Doomblade, it's simple. Destroy target non-black creature. It's not that great within the game. However, the Void is without substance but cuts like steel. The Void is part of that in-between dimension in which Nicol Bolas can literally tear through the dimensions to use the Blind Eternities, or in this case, the Void, which is very similar, to literally rip apart your being at a spiritual level. As you can see, there's literally in that. When I was little, this card art always confused me on what the hell was happening. Looking at it more closely, I'm able to see that you are literally seeing the tearing, folding in on itself a little bit.
Could you say that one more time? I cut out for a second.
Oh, it's basically you can literally see the tearing of reality that's starting to fold inwards.
Yeah, it does kind of look like someone just like burnt the card that this art is on.
Yeah.
Would Arceus die to Doomblade is the question. Would
So-
a dark type Arceus die to Doomblade?
So I was about to say the closest thing that Pokemon has to black would be dark type. So hypothetically, he could quickly switch on the dark plate, whatever that's called, and like counter that. But assuming he doesn't have that option, which is impossible, he has resisted stuff like spatial rend and is also able to exist in like strange in between dimensions himself.
Wait, hold on. Spatial. Maybe this is what you were getting at. But breaking the reality apart or whatever to expose to the blind eternities.
Yep.
Could we say that spatial rend is just Doomblade?
They're pretty
Okay,
similar.
so let's actually get to that. Can I have break the space?
Break the space.
Let's discuss how similar they are. Found this on Internet Archive, so some of the characters are a little broken. And if we look at it, let me just make sure that I have the scan up. This is the true appearance of Palkia, the legendary Pokemon. This is said to control space. Or that is said to control space. Palkia has the power to warp, destroy, and create space itself. They say that the very space world where origin form Palkia resides is in shreds, as if it had been torn to ribbons. Palkia's signature move is called Spatial Rend, which tears not only the target, but the very space around them apart. I am assuming that's what that final line says.
Yeah.
So
Asunder is
weirdly
what it says.
similar. It says some weird things there, I must admit, because some of the special characters got broken.
Trying to
I
find a
love it in
layout where I can
Archive.
compare these two easily, but it's not looking like there's a great one for that.
This,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
really
I-
different size scans.
Yeah. But it's a very
Extremely
similar
simple.
idea to Spatial Rend and Doomblade.
Okay. All right,
They
so
can
we've
break
talked about a
spells.
lot. Is there any memorable things where like, oh, this will be effective? Because it kind of sounds like they both have every power and resist every power.
To a degree, at the very least, or at least have ways to.
I mean, you
Would-
two are the debaters. Were there anything y'all brought up so far that you're like, this is an exception that'll be especially helpful this debate?
Not anything that I'm. Let me just triple check my scans and my notes. Yeah, there's that. There's that. I already brought up the Giants. I can bring up that once we get to that guy. Already brought up that the plates nullify attacks. Let's see, did that. Okay. Is there anything else here that's especially important? No, because that'll be stuff I'm bringing up later. Just checking my scans. Yep. That's pretty much it without going into the more statty section.
All right. So, is there anything else y'all want to talk about besides just how strong they are now? Because we were kind of talking about like some Arceus avatar stuff. Is that like, do we want to talk about how that works before we get into like the stat stuff?
Yeah, I suppose I can talk about that. Basically, the Arceus that we see in the games is but merely an avatar of the true form of Arceus. Uh, it is still, for being an avatar, extremely powerful, as it's able to take on all three of the creation trio at once and still win the day. And additionally, it did that without even having all of the plates at its disposal, meaning it was weaker than it would be at like its true power. And again, this is just the avatar. This isn't even the true form.
Okay, okay. And we were kind of talking about how all planeswalkers are also apparently just avatars of like an infinite version of themselves. So both
Yes.
Nicol Bolas and Arceus have like a true form that lies outside of space and time.
Yes, there's a little bit more to the way planeswalkers work that I would like to go into.
At this point,
So-
I think we can forego the categories and just talk about everything else we want to talk about at
Yeah.
whatever way that
I'll
seems
let you talk about those planeswalkers.
So planeswalkers, like I said, are what you see is an avatar, and their real existence is on a higher plane. So this is important because so we all know that immortality, there's a lot of different types of immortality.
just in fiction.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
all sorts of different types of immortality. They have planeswalkers have the obvious one of just being immortal in the way that the passage of time means nothing to them. But one of the big ones that I talked about a little bit earlier is they are capable of surviving their bodies and spirits being disintegrated because they survive purely as mind and spirit, and even having that broken, their true form, I don't know why that was so hard, are able to just recreate their body. But even planeswalkers like Nicol Bolas, who are the old ones, are able to have their spark destroyed and still come back. And this is specific, and this is something kind of specific for, because I don't know, because reaching that higher entity is very hard. Uh-oh, where'd my thing go?
Lockdown, stop taking all hard stuff.
I'm not, I swear.
There we go. Okay. Can you
Lockdown's
grab...
counterspelling all heart scans.
It's getting annoying. Quit stealing
Arceus.
my shit.
Arceus used knockoff.
Can you bring up spirit? I spelt it. It's spit health and damage. It's supposed to be spirit.
Oh, it's spitted health and damage.
It's like my Shylid.
So this is Teferi fighting Nicol Bolas. Teferi is another planeswalker. And this is something that kind of goes into the whole idea of the physical body of a planeswalker can only be harmed, not even by other planeswalkers, unless unless their will is broken. But we also see here something a bit more specific with the physical contact of the dragon sent Teferi into an all-out seizure. His mind became scrambled and his body jerked convulsively. His physical essence disintegrated, but Bolas's dread jaws bore down anyway, crushing Teferi's spirit as thoroughly as his bones. This is a moment in the book where Teferi dies. Like, he is gone. Nicol Bolas is able to kill immortals. He is able to kill that higher dimensional, higher plane of existence, that true form that the planeswalkers have. Simply by killing them in this world, he is one of the only beings within the entirety of Magic the Gathering that is able to just simply kill you.
So this is the physical avatar of Bolas is fighting the physical avatar of Teferi, but
Yes.
Bolas eating and crushing Teferi's body and spirit in his jaws also somehow destroyed the legit version.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's because of like willpower stuff. Because with the planeswalkers, it's like they need the will to continue, right?
Well, sort of. So the will thing is how they are able to reconstruct their own body. However, this is not Nicol Bolas breaking Teferi's will, because as we see throughout other parts of the book, Teferi's will is the strongest. That's why there's things such as Teferi's protection, which are very important as like the protection spell, because he is so strong-willed about protecting the world, protecting everything from. This is specifically something that Nicol Bolas, Ugin, and Emrakul have. The only three have this, where their specific abilities are able to transcend beyond the physical and the spirit into that higher dimension and kill the higher plane of being.
Fascinating. To address the question, technically speaking, not as of current. The way that the types were made in the first place was that he killed giants and infused them into plates. So maybe by the end of this, he could make a new type.
Out of Nicol
Maybe.
Bolas,
Yes.
the plane type.
Planes type.
Interesting.
So that's where we're at with the thing. It is on a higher plane. Should I go into the way that the planes work within Magic?
I think that makes sense. I do like the idea of just like the setup. Nicol Bolas does kind of seem reminiscent of the weird primordial deities that Arceus fought and turned into plates. That's a fun comparison.
Yes.
I just thought that, and I just thought that was
So-
cool. But you can
Yeah. No, that's really
The
cool.
long dreaded space type.
the space type.
So I do want to really quick. We covered this a little bit. I think this was before we started streaming. There's been a lot of debate on whether or not Universes Beyond is canon and whether that should be added to Magic's cosmology. And I'm going to firmly say 95% of 99% of the time, no. Universes Beyond has nothing to do with Magic. It is a crossover thing. They are called Universes Beyond because of the fact that they are beyond the Magic multiverse, with an exception of one. And that is, we know specifically that Magic and Dungeons and Dragons are connected. Yes, probably because of the fact that they're both owned by Wizards of the Coast is probably why it happened. But they share a lot of dimensions, such as Ixalan. So with that, the plane in which planeswalkers exist is the highest plane within Magic and Dungeons and Dragons. within the realms of Dungeons and Dragons and Magic, there are the material plane, which is the regular worlds. Then there's the inner planes, which the elemental building blocks of matter. The outer planes, which are 16 outer layers of dimensions, as well as the nine hells, the abyss, and the transitive planes, such as the astral and the blind eternities, giving I want to make sure I have this right. That's okay. There are specifically 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, make sure I don't fuck this up. 20 different. It is 20 deep of
Could you
planes
say that
of dimensional
one more time?
scale.
It cut out for me again. Specifically, the number.
There is very specifically 20 planes of existence in between the material plane in which they'll be fighting and where Nicol Bolas's true form exists.
I will say, I Dungeons and Dragons lore and Magic lore being very interconnected does sound like that's probably the case now. But saying that like the Planeswalkers idea is completely beyond like the outer planes of D&D feels like a very bold claim because the outer planes in D&D are kind of absurd. Like they're like all about like the
So the
ideas
reason
and concepts that we were talking about. I feel like just how they're described, the Planeswalkers realms, if anything, should be part of the outer planes.
So the reason that I describe it specifically as that is because of the fact he is an old walker. So there is a difference between where old walkers and new walkers have their true form. Old walkers are the most powerful as long as they were able to re-get their power as what they had from pre-mending, in which Nicol Bolas does the Elder Spell. And there is actually a Magic the Gathering D&D campaign, an official one,
Wait,
in
what?
which they did a crossover, and it's really cool. But within that, we do see that old walkers are seen as a higher level of understanding than what we really know of most gods within D&D. Now, whether or not we want to put that at all, like at top of all 20 layers, that could be discussed. But at the very least, it's a good 10 or so layers above the material plane if you don't want to say above the outer plane.
Maybe. This feels like a very big deal to me. I'm not gonna say like it's nonsense, but it's very. That would be very, very crazy if that was indeed the scaling.
It's
but
a lot.
Interesting.
Excuse me.
I suppose where I talk about the Pokemon cosmology. Oh boy, the Pokemon cosmology. So, we're going to start with the base universe, which has its own little realm. It's its own little infinite universe that exists and has all the Pokemon you know and love. Below that is the distortion world, a realm without the concepts of space or time that exists with which in Giratina was placed. Hypothetically, based on the way that the distortion world is described, there should be a distortion world in every universe. And there is not only an infinite amount of universes, but there are branches of those universes that stem from the choices that are made by essentially the players, but more specifically the people within it. And on top of all of that becomes the ultra wormholes, or between of those infinite universes. And as far as I am aware, that is for the most part the structure of the Pokemon cosmology without talking about the planes where Palkia and Dialga exist, which are beyond that. Is itself can be able to not only access those dimensions as an avatar, but additionally his own existence exists well outside the concepts of dimension and space and time, as it itself is the reason that they were made.
Hmm. Okay. So who's bigger?
That is the question.
I would argue Nicobolas. Even at the low end of going off of how many like planes of like how many dimensional planes are between them, at the lowest end, what we can give up like the planeswalkers of magic, there's at least like at the very least like 9, and each of these are infinite realms, so that's 9 dimensional planes between them, whereas I don't think we have anything of that level with Pokemon.
All right. Well, let's get into that then. So we have the base universe. So we're at 3 there. 3 dimensions because it's an infinite universe. I believe that's how that works at least. Which in and of itself has the distortion world, which is an area that lacks space and time. But for sake of argument, just say it's a higher dimensional plane. Because it is like very explicitly meant to be its own thing that lacks the concepts of space and time, which we can elaborate on in Give Me a Realm with Nothing.
Wait. What you said they want a realm with what in it?
Give me a realm with nothing.
Right. One realm with nothing. Coming right up. Where's the skin? I can't find the skin.
Nothing?
Nothing.
With nothing. Where's realm with nothing?
It's so nothing that the scan's nothing.
Hold on.
Is it called a
I can
realm
bring
with
it
nothing?
up myself. Yeah, it's Give Me a Realm
Oh,
with
it's
Nothing,
give
but
me. It was
Oh,
under G thing.
that is my apologies for miscommunicating. This is describing the torn world as is translated from Japanese, but for our region, it's the distortion realm, which is said to be the other side of the world where not only are like space and time, it's described as space and time being twisted, but that's because there is no concept of space and time.
This is some
And again, for sake of
incomprehensible
argument,
bullshit.
yeah, so for sake of argument, let's just say that this is a higher dimensional plane. There
Okay.
are in number of universes, so we'll add another one there. In which those universes themselves branch out with the infinite decisions that the player can make. One more there. And then most realistically, we have the ultra wormholes, which you can access through ultra space. One more there. And then we have the realms where Palkia and Dialga exist. One more there. And then where Arceus exists in his true form. One more there. And unless if I've miscounted, I think that's 9 or 10. Base universe, distortion world, infinite universes, the infinite choices across those universes, where Palkia and Dialga. Oh no, Ultra Space, where Palkia and Dialga exist. Arceus. That's 10. And this is being ultra conservative with how the distortion world, and specifically where Arceus exists, if you could bring up Get Wrecked or Git Reeked.
Eat reeked.
Git.
Thank you for spelling it. Aha.
This basically, I will say this is interpretively the true form of Arceus, where he exists in a realm that is located both beyond space and time, which is reasonable given that he not only created space and time, but also like existed before it and was able to fight the giants, which I can bring up in. Actually, I already brought up him beating the giants, but more specifically, him creating things and making space and time.
Someone asked if Nico Bolas would have the experience advantage if like he's fought characters more similar to him in power versus Arceus maybe not doing that as much.
I would say yes, because Arceus doesn't really have. There's no one that's really on that level. Whereas Nicol Bolas has spent millennia, thousands and thousands and thousands of years warring with his brother Ugin, as well as other old walkers such as Emrakul.
Which is fair. Not to say that Arceus isn't an experienced fighter. He's
No.
an infinite amount of experience. But he just hasn't faced realistically anything on his level due to the fact that he's literally created everything.
So this is just what the conversation reminded me of, just comparing like how many layers we got between each other.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Joey. It's
That's
a reference to something.
Death battle reference.
Reference to something.
It's a death battle reference.
Well, it's definitely not a reference to JoJo's. I would have gotten that.
JoJo.
So my question is, which one of you is
If
Hulk
you're
and which
trying
one of you is
Giratina
Godzilla?
realm to the same size as the universes,
I'm Hulk.
Dialga and Palkia's realms absolutely should not be massively dimensionally greater, considering Giratina casually squashes them. No. So Giratina and the distortion world as itself, Giratina is the distortion world, which is why there's one across all of the dimensions. With Palkia and Dialga being the concept of space and time, they are all on like a similar plane. However, Arceus himself like banished Giratina to that realm, and Giratina could freely go between that as he wishes. Unless he's trapped by Dialga.
So we've talked about a lot, but the general impression I'm getting so far in terms of like the more impressive like Beyond realm is that while Arceus either there's a similar amount of universes and realms in both, or Nicol Bolas has the advantage if we add in all like the D&D stuff.
Hypothetically, this is assuming that the realms that I described where they don't have a tie to space or time aren't considered like a much higher level than they would be.
Interesting. Also, I'm assuming we jumped around to talk about how wide their realms are. I'm just going to assume by this logic, both these characters have some kind of capability to like destroy or create realms of this size, which is why we're talking about all this.
Yeah.
Yes, Arceus
Okay.
is the creator of is the original one, the creator of all of this, which is described with a couple of my scans. I thought I could be wrong. I mostly talked about the creatures he created rather than what he created in this. In all fairness, but he is the creator of literally everything and watches over it.
Okay.
All right.
So, is there anything else we want to talk about?
Guess I can get into some slightly more specific stuff. Could I have time, huh?
Oh God.
Time, huh? This is not a video. I'd like to just preface. I was
This
very
is
confused
not
by
a
this at
video.
first.
I screenshotted it from Imgur, and I could not pause it in a way that got rid of that. So I do apologize. But in essence, Dialga the time Pokemon was able to trap Giratina, the Pokemon who's from a realm where time doesn't exist, in a momentary time loop, which prevented him from escaping wherever he was, which at the time was not the Distortion realm.
Okay.
I can very clearly tell that in the original video because of how natural it looked. It was very clearly like some weird underwater area, and Dialga ended up portaling himself out of there, and Giratina tries to do the same, but he ends up getting time looped.
Okay.
Hence the little infinity symbol on the tunnel with that. I forget who it is who's observing this, but this is something that Dialga was very casually able to do.
He's gonna Groundhog Day Nicol Bolas.
Oh, that was the Distortion realm? Then I do apologize for that. But in any case, he was able to time loop some. They used the reflection of the lake to enter the Distortion realm. Oh, okay. Thank you. But yeah, in any case, he time looped someone in somewhere that didn't have time.
So he just created time. That's interesting.
Which
it's
is
literally
true.
the Dormammu thing. He introduced time where time didn't exist.
He is time. He is the thing that birthed time across everywhere.
That is interesting.
Which Arceus would naturally have since he created them, and they are interpretively just an extension of his true being, much like his avatars.
Anything else?
I mean, there's like the antimatter stuff, but I don't know how antimatter truly works. But Giratina himself has been able to encapsulate foes in that antimatter, including people like Palkia and Dialga.
If we want to talk about one-hit KOs, antimatter probably applies.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how does antimatter work on like.
I mean, if you're like beyond time and space,
form.
then you might not be made of matter anymore. You're like a weird.
Yeah, because matter didn't exist when Arceus was born.
That is true.
He is the reason that matter exists.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about, Allheart? Any last minute, like?
The final things I want to bring up, for one, is a little bit of a funny thing with the idea of getting stuck in a time loop. One of the most powerful cards in all of Magic that is banned in is a card called Time Walk. So within the game of Magic the Gathering, Time Walk is a card that lets you just take an extra turn. The reason it's banned is because it only costs 2 mana, and you get to take a whole ass extra turn. But within the lore of Magic, Time Walk is literally walking separate from time, being able to permanently separate yourself from the time flow. But on top of that, Time Walk. So this is a newer reprint version. The old one, this is a goal of mine in life when I get enough, if I ever get rich, I want to own an alpha Time Walk, which is $10,000.
Damn.
But anyway, Planeswalkers do exist outside the loop of time, but so did the Distortion world. So that may not be an innate ability. However, Time Walk would let Nicol Bolas walk separate from the time stream and escape a time loop, as has been done. So they use time. Jace has tried to use time loops a lot, and they work except on beings of except on old walkers. And I think I might want one more thing. Let me double check. Okay, final 2 things. Can you bring up Elder Spell? So I've talked a lot about him getting his abilities back through the Elder Spell. What the fuck is the Elder Spell? So he spent upon his escape from his imprisonment trying to regain the power he had pre-mending, in which he found the Elder Spell, which did a couple things. For very specifically gave him back his mending powers, his pre-mending powers. It also gave him what is described as omnipotent energy and sight, and it allowed him to steal the sparks of other planeswalkers. He crossed the realms, stealing thousands of planeswalker sparks, giving him extra layers of soul protection that he uses, sort of in the way of, if you remember from Shigaraki versus Mahito, the way they talk about the vestiges. He is able to use these other sparks as a protection of his own spiritual being.
So how many of these sparks does he have?
And thousands. It is described as thousands and thousands of sparks he's stolen.
Hmm.
That's a lot of sparks, dude.
Final one. This isn't super important, but I found this and I refuse to not bring it up. Can you bring up Niv Mizzet?
Niv Mizzet.
So I didn't know this existed, but there is a Japanese graphic novel of Magic the Gathering that has yet to be translated into English. So I cannot tell you what these panels say. What I can tell you is that skeleton in the background is another ancient dragon like him and his brother Ugin, Niv Mizzet, who is said to be the smartest, most magically adept, I just hit my mic, most magically adept of all the dragons. And it was like a long fight, but he realized really quickly, oh, I just can't win. He had no way of getting around Nicol Bolas. Despite his great intelligence, Nicol Bolas was smarter, was more powerful, and more magically adept.
Okay. Is that your
It's just
lesson?
funny art as well. He looks
he looks
like
very
a llamas
happy.
with hats.
I think
He
this
looked
makes it
like
very
if you've
apparent, like
seen,
the Egyptian, like kind of beard sarcophagus inspiration is a little more clear here, which I appreciate.
Oh, he one of his nicknames is the God Pharaoh.
Yeah. Because he's from Amonkhet, which is, fun fact, the Magic the Gathering expansion that got me into Magic is the Egypt one.
Oh, nice. But this is a funny one to me, just because if you've seen llamas with hats, the skeleton reminds me a lot of when Carl went back and found Paul as a skeleton. I don't know why, it looks a lot like that.
We bring up the sacred texts here. Does everyone know the
dark magic?
Oh yeah. Also, apparently we have a very helpful translator in the chat.
Yeah.
Nicol Bolas is the strongest guy ever, except for Arceus from Pokemon, who one-shots him. Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Wow.
However, this manga
specific
might
and
not be
very
canon,
helpful.
so maybe we can't quite use it. But yeah.
True.
Well,
Thank you,
this
Cable.
works for me. I say Arceus wins. That's a wrap, guys.
Okay, that's one vote for. Okay.
Before we get into final arguments, I just had like some quick questions, but
Of course.
so I guess like
It's a
my
very
first
complicated matchup.
Yeah. My first big question is Arceus, and correct me if I'm wrong, never really is like loses or gets defeated because of his role as like the god of the world. But Nicol Bolas is like the antagonist. So what happened that like defeated Nicol Bolas, or at least like temporarily delayed him?
So in his war with his brother Ugin, he got overconfident, and Ugin with planeswalkers like Jace Beleren to strip him of his power using a very specific magical spell, and then imprison him because they knew they couldn't actually kill him. The only reason he got out was because of a different war. Jace got captured, and Ugin had to activate a failsafe that he had magically implanted within Jace to erase parts of his memory, which unfortunately also erased the part where they trapped Bolas. Jace then went with other people to travel realms, found the realm they imprisoned Bolas in, went there, saw him, spoke his name as he was remembered, which then freed him.
So wait, how was he
Ugin
trapped?
kind of screwed himself. When they took his when Ugin and Jace used the magical spell to depower him, specifically took him and imprisoned him in a separate dimension that he could not escape from because they had taken his spark.
Do we know how they took his spark? That seems like that's like kind of crazy.
It was a very specific ancient spell that is lost to time. So maybe I'm hoping one day we'll get to learn a little bit more about that. But
and
we do know that it was.
Sorry, keep talking.
So as of right now, we don't know the very specifics of that spell. But what we do know is that he has his spark back, and that he has protections against his spark being taken now.
And right now, he's just like somewhere off in the cosmos, setting up some other dastardly deed, I'm sure.
Pretty much, we haven't seen him in a minute.
If he just retired, he's like, man, that shit went wrong. I'm just gonna chill out.
The last time we saw him was that was years ago. He had entrusted Liliana as his what's the word? As his like student, and like the war general, and then she betrayed him, and he was like, "Okay, fuck you," and then just killed her. But Gideon then sacrificed himself so Liliana would live. But yeah, so it was originally a magic spell we don't know a whole lot about right now that we're hopefully going to learn more about in the future. With being imprisoned in another dimension until Jace made an oopsie, gave him his power, at least his post-mending power, in which he could then travel to power back.
Wait, how did he get his power back? Oh, with the spell? The ending? Whatever.
Yeah, with the Elder spell. Okay.
So my last question before we can get into final arguments is, Arceus was kind of said to like kind of know everything. Can Arceus like see and know the future?
Reasonably, given the thing about he gives us hints on what to do. He can see all his omniscience, and I'm not gonna say it's omniscience and omnipotence, but it's clearly meant to be just omniscience, being able to know all, plus being beyond time and space as a concept kind of helps.
This is the tricky part because obviously stories never have to cover this because this is a very specific crossverse problem, but does someone who knows everything, would they also know everything about a world that has nothing to do with their franchise? That's like the question. Like, how much would he know about Nicol?
I feel like, given the fact that this would be a death battle sort of situation, they should not have information on each other until the crossing happens, in which case we can go from there.
I would argue it's going to start with them not having really anything, but I think both of them would be able to start using their tools of like their like massive intelligence, mind reading or whatever, to be able to get a feel for what's going on and what the other being is.
Okay. Robot said, as stupid as Arceus is in the movie, he does otherwise use his omniscience fairly well, to the point that the hymns at different points in time can act separately and acknowledge what happened else when. So that's
Precisely.
Yeah.
all right. All right. All right. Do we want to talk about anything else, or do we want to go into final arguments while I throw the poll up for the chat?
I feel as though we are in final arguments territory.
Yeah.
Alright.
You want to go first?
I would like you to go first.
Well, too bad. Go first. No.
Damn.
I can go first. Okay, so Nicol Bolas versus Arceus, it's complicated because we're getting into the higher ends of some BS cosmologies. That being said, Nicol Bolas has a lot going for him here. He is ridiculously smart. He has so much potential power. He has counters and counters and counters. And that's one of the big things is that counter spells are very literal. They're going to be able to counter just anything Arceus throws at him. And I don't believe that Arceus has a way to get to Nicol Bolas's higher plane. I don't think that, because even on the lowest level, they're pretty even. On the highest level of their existence, Nicol Bolas has several planes of existence in between himself and where Arceus can reach. So I would argue pretty heavily that Arceus, while being powerful, does not have a way to truly get to Nicol Bolas, while Nicol Bolas has multiple ways of not only destroying the Avatar, but his very being is able to destroy those higher dimensional beings like Arceus' true form.
The poll is up for anyone who is doing the wants to vote. Lockdown. What is your final argument?
While I am doing my final arguments, could you bring up that one movie?
That one movie.
I hope this gets followed by.
The original one is in all things. The original one is nowhere at all. Arceus is omnipresent across everything as well as being just how he is. Interpretationally, these guys get to some crazy, crazy high ends. I would argue only interpretation to go around. I would, at the very least, put them equal, if not possibly giving an edge to Nicol. Do a countably higher thing, but way that realms without time and space are interpreted in fiction, they would realistically more so be equals. With Arceus's multitude of abilities at his disposal, everything from lowering stats, increasing his own stats, shutting down moves, being able to confuse, paralyze, poison, and any other manner of things to Nicol Bolas, even at those higher planes, due to the fact that the original one was the one who defeated those giants and created the plates. I think Arceus has just about everything he needs to be able to take down this dragon.
I want to point out real quick in the chat, someone said, "Dog, bring this up before the final arguments." I everything I said I brought up during before the final argument.
I want to assume he was talking to me.
And it was said before you started.
Okay.
This
you want to get the final sway.
This is very, very interesting. Joey, this is the part where you and me kind of try to figure out who we each get one vote and who we want to vote for. This is tough because they seem to have all like the same stuff for the most part.
Oh, the picks play. Okay, yeah.
I think, and I don't know what you're thinking so far, but I think like the big difference between what Nicol and Arceus have going. I think the counter spells on Nicol is very, very important because if Nicol doesn't have mana, like he has an infinite wellspring of power, then he can kind of just pull out as many counter spells as he wants, and he doesn't have to like tap or anything. So like that does mess with
Yeah.
because Arceus has like status conditions like paralysis, flinch. These things seem like confusion, seem like there's not really a great response once you have it in Magic, but it sounds like a counterspell would just prevent that from happening in the first place.
I there's like a couple things that I'm mentally trying to think about here, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is going through my head and trying to rationalize the fact that what was I'm trying to say here? For some reason, mentally, I can't really imagine Nicol winning, even though there are plenty of good arguments as to why, right? So
So
I'm
this
trying
is what
to
Nicol
exclude
does
that
is he's
here
like
and think
goes to worlds
rationally.
and like takes on their gods.
Yeah, right. So that's just a mental thing I need to wrap my head around.
Now something also I just remembered is that like
Um,
Lockdown did say that like there's like an uncountable amount of Arceuses or something like that. Like there are multiple avatars. I'm pretty sure the Planeswalker is an avatar, but it's like a one at a time thing. So Arceus could have like the numbers advantage, maybe.
yeah, he could go shadow clones on Nicol.
Just summon an armada of RCI.
Yeah.
Arceus has like the Omni knowledge, which makes me think like that's like an advantage. If you can know what moves are happening ahead of time, you can strategize around it. But Nico Bolas is also like devious as hell. I don't know. I think I might be leaning towards Arceus just because like having like omniscience is a really good advantage.
Yeah. I instinctually this entire time I've been leaning towards Arceus. I'm trying to ignore that bias and thinking of the ways that Nicol beats Archie here, right?
Yeah.
Uh okay. I don't know. I think I can ignore the gut feeling as much as I hate to say it.
You don't think you can ignore your gut feeling?
I don't think I can ignore the gut feeling. I think I'm gonna end up voting Arceus in the end here. As much as I hate to just stick with my initial gut feeling.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm kind of on the fence because I think that Nico Bolas being able to kill Arceus' true form is real strong. But Arceus can fight the giants, who I believe Lockdown said were similar to Arceus himself. So I think they can both like affect the true form of each other. In which case, it's tough because I kind of went into this thinking Nicol was gonna win just because I thought Magic was like a more ridiculous world than Pokemon. But I think I mean, I'm really on the
Can I
fence. But I think
clarify one thing real quick?
You may.
It's just you mentioned the omniscience thing, but I did bring up that Nicol Bolas does have omniscience, granted by the Elder Spell.
I thought you were about to bring out the enchantment there.
No.
Wait, how does the omniscience?
I just want to make sure I did.
How does Nico Bolas's omniscience work? I must have missed that.
He's able to see, predict, and I'm not making sure I get this right. He's able to see across all the different realms. He's able to give predictions based on what he can see. So basically, the omniscience automatically gives him the idea of how to counter things.
Much like Future Sight.
Damn, these two got all the same shit.
Why they gotta have the same shit?
They got the same shit. I am so on the fence. I almost just want to like. All right, I'm gonna go after the poll because I'm like so torn. Joe, are you
You
locking
gotta
in
look
your
at the
vote for
poll. How
Arceus?
dare you, you cheater?
Are you locking in your vote for Arceus, Joey?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna end the poll, and we got the chat with 57% of the
Oh.
vote has voted for Nicol Bolas, and that was a lot of votes. That was 22 votes, so that's very close.
Holy shit.
So we got one for Nicol, one for Arceus. I'm so torn. I really want to vote for Arceus because there's like an infinite amount of him, and I think his omniscience sounds better because I think Nicol can find out anything, but I think Arceus already knows everything. But the problem is Nicol might be stronger. Oh man, I don't want to. I think I'll feel a little bad no matter who I vote for because I feel like it was like I could see arguments for both. This is like one of the most torn I've been in a really, really long time. I think I'm going to go with Arceus, but it's like, damn, it's on a knife's edge. All right, so with that, I think Arceus has just ever so barely pulled out the win today. But damn, that was tight.
All right.
I think this is like, if I understand correctly, funnily enough, have Lockdown and Allhar both been on like losing streaks? So this is like the breaking of that for Lockdown.
Possibly. I don't remember what my last cast I debated for was.
Was it
Oh my god, it
Kane
was Kane Tenna. Yeah, I've been on a bit of a losing streak.
On fan, because I know I haven't debated on fan battle in a minute. Last time, let's see. Because the last one I was on, I won.
Okay,
I
never
won.
mind.
Marshalline versus Charlie was the last one I did.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Damn, this was like this is way closer than I thought it was gonna be. You guys,
Same. I thought I was cooked.
The chat really liked Nicol Bolas there.
Yeah.
No, it was dead even actually.
It was tied for a good while there. I mean, with 22 votes, only having like 55% of the vote is very close. Now that the poll is over and you guys aren't debaters, do you guys genuinely think each other wins, or were you kind of playing up or downplaying?
I don't think I'll let you go first, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, from my understanding, originally I thought Magic the Gathering was just inherently a more complex cosmology. However, weirdly enough, when I was consulting sources, for some reason they had Arceus at a higher tier than I thought he would be. And that's likely because of the fact that the realms lacked spatial temporal like laws and such, which I think inherently makes a realm bigger. Like, not even just dimensionally, but like beyond just like, oh, it's one-dimensional tier up.
I would want to look into the accuracy of that, because if it is like the concept of something instead of just like the presence of space and time, that would be significantly more impressive just by like how. At this point, we're arguing philosophy, but that would be how that would work.
It is very explicit that
which we're dealing with God, so arguing philosophy does make sense.
Right. It makes sense. But yeah, no, Arceus himself inherently created the concepts of space and time via creating Dialga and Palkia, who gave birth to time and space across the wider Pokemon cosmology.
All right. So this was an incredibly interesting cast. I will be very curious to hear the comments. I think a lot of people have some opinions on this one. Alhar, you did a phenomenal job. It was super cool learning about Magic the Gathering. Lockdown, congratulations on your victory.
Yes, thank you. I was incredibly so good amount of like abilities.
I do find the premise of Magic the Gathering mechanics versus Pokemon mechanics very fun. It's just slightly unfortunate that kind of boils down to, like, if both these guys can do everything, their arsenals more or less just cancel each other out. which is sadly like not.
Yeah,
I do think it would have
Yeah.
been.
I wasn't saying it. I was just kind of
I
rambling.
was gonna say, I think it would be, yeah, I think it would have been really interesting if there were some Pokemon cards brought into this. That way, we have card game versus card game as well.
Yeah, why didn't you bring
I
up any
wasn't-
Arceus Pokemon cards locked down? Your win would have been
I
secured.
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if those would be allowed because I figured that would be stepping a little too far. Because typically with Pokemon, you can kind of get away with using the anime and games and manga, but the cards are kind of a stretch. I did come across some, but it didn't feel relevant because it was mostly backing up stuff that I already brought up.
One of my favorite
Alright.
card game arguments that is not coherent with the anime or manga is while I was looking for when we were doing N versus Pain from Naruto, I was looking up. All right, we gotta figure out whether he has Reshiram or Zekrom more often. And there's a card where he just has both, and it's like I'd love to hear the story of why he has both of them. So that's my favorite. The
How
most
the fuck
powerful
did you
version
get
of N
both
is
of
from the
them?
card game where he has both Reshiram and Zekrom. Yeah. So this was a very, very
And
fun.
walking up as he has two legendary dragons beside him.
You should have argued that based on the card stats, Arceus has the stat advantage because magics are usually like in the single to double digits, whereas Pokemon is like triple digits. I think
Triple
some of them
digits
are
normally.
quadruple digits. So you should be like, he's like dozens of times stronger by these numbers.
Lamau.
Yeah. That all being said, we're still in the
Leans
process
really
of
heavily amplifying abilities and resistances.
looking at the
Yeah.
future cast we got coming up. Yeah, we got sent a one thumbnail for this matchup that I think I should put on screen for Arceus versus Nicol Bolas. That's good to know.
Wait, what? That's not.
What is this?
That's not the right thumbnail.
Archie
What
versus
is
Oh,
that?
it's
Archie versus
Archie and
Nicole.
Nicole!
So thank you for watching Archie versus Nicole, everyone. So I lost my train of thought.
Oh
Next,
my god.
we're still working on scheduling some future matchups. What we do have scheduled is our current plan is to do Peach Maria was delayed because there are some complications with the Castlevania end of things. We should be doing that on the 21st. We'll be doing Princess Peach versus Maria Renard from Castlevania. And on the 27th, Nebula Theater will be doing their Sonic versus Goku cast. So, we got some more stuff being planned right now, but that's what we got as pretty solidly locked in. Yeah, does anyone have any final thoughts before we close out today?
No,
All right.
I had a good time.
Thank you for watching, everyone. This was a very interesting cast. This is one of our longest casts, and I think this is one of the ones that I think justifies its length the best because there's
hours.
genuinely a lot to talk about with these two. But I think me personally, I like these long casts. I know they're not for everyone, but I quite enjoy this, so I'm very happy with how this came out. Good job,
Oh, yeah.
Lockdown. Good job, All Hard. I had a phenomenal time.
Yes, this was extremely close. I was on the edge of my seat after Sherm read the poll, and I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah, this is like genuinely.
Oh, no.
I could go either way.
Oh.
I think what's gonna happen is Saul's gonna tell me, you silly goose, you should Nico Bolas wins for XYZ reasons, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's my prediction. Saul's a smart guy, but I think I can bring us back. I can make. Are we alive again? This is like you hang up the
I don't know.
phone and then like, did I fix it?
Okay, if we are alive, just an offhanded mention from Soul. TMNT versus Ninjago is happening relatively soon. It seems to be scheduled 21st for that.
Yeah. TMNT versus
I'm debating
Ninjago is
TMNT.
also happening on the 21st.
Yeah, from 12:30 to 1 p.m. Pacific time, which would be 3:30 to 4 Eastern time.
And this is just the month. This is just the month of double feature days because looks like we might have two on the 21st then.
I'm
Oh,
debating
boy.
for both.
Wait, you're in. You're also doing Ninjago TMNT,
I'm debating for the TMNT.
and they're both
Let's go.
So that is accurate. They're both happening on the 21st.
Yeah,
All right. 21st is now All Heart
I
Day.
believe so. Because
All Heart. That's your new birthday. It wasn't. We're changing your birthday to
August 21st.
August
is All Heart
21st.
Day.
Would you rather be younger or older? By however much we're taking away from your original birthday.
I'm already. I mean, I'd be, I guess, younger.
All right, so
Huh.
we'll take some months.
I'd be
we'll
older.
we'll give you some of your months back, and we're moving your birthday to August 21st.
Kai's gonna be debating against Kai.
Yep.
That is kind of funny. I just realized that.
Nope, I get to do the awful thing. No, the great thing of debating Sherm and then Saul.
No, because you're going against Ninjago.
Oh yeah, I'm debating against Ninjago.
You're
I'm very
debating against
pleased to.
Kai.
I'm very pleased to be put in the same tier of threat level as Saul. That's very nice of you to say.
Which is valid. You are quite knowledgeable.
Look at these two suck ups. Look, I love them. All right. Well, we will now end the stream. Thank you all for watching. I've
Yeah.
never tried stopping
Bye-bye.
stream and then starting stream on OBS. That was a good thing to learn.
But thank
All right. Now I'll